Hello, welcome back to our Thankful for 30 challenge and to day 21 of our challenge that we've got going on right here. Today we are going to talk all about patience.
I know it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you.
So yes, this is a topic that you might be like, how does this have anything to do with a thankfulness challenge? And I want to explain that you being patient actually has so much to do with like every aspect of your life. One fun fact that I want to share with you is, and I actually just got home from a day of subbing, but a fun fact that I wanted to share with you is that when I was still teaching full time, there would be so many mornings that before I would get to school, honestly, not even for my students, but from some of the staff that I worked with, that I would pray for patience in myself and in my day. I would get up, and one thing that I know absolutely brings me the ability to be more patient and just having more energy and just being more understanding and all of those things is having a morning routine, and more specifically moving my body first thing in the morning. Like if I can get a workout in and I can burn some calories and get some endorphins flowing and all of that, I am oftentimes a more patient person, more patient human being. And that is why, I mean, despite not always feeling like doing a workout first thing in the morning, I know the benefits far outweigh the fact that maybe I'd rather sleep in or whatever. And so I try to always get that workout in first thing. The next piece of that though is to be very intentional about being patient. So that was something that when I started to literally like pray for patience in my day and to be intentional about, okay, we've got this, like it's okay, that kind of a thing, I would be so much better in my day. But on those days where I wouldn't be really intentional about that, I would struggle and more things would frustrate me or annoy me like far quickly than they would on the days where I was being more intentional with that. So when it comes to thankfulness and just wanting to be more thankful in your life, just think of your family, whether you have children, a spouse, significant other, maybe it's your family, your parents, your siblings, that sort of a thing. You know, we're almost at Thanksgiving. We're 2 days away right now. You know, maybe this is something that you are praying for patience as you head into those family gatherings, because maybe you have a parent or a sibling or an uncle or a grandparent that oftentimes will say those things, make those comments that maybe get under your skin. And maybe you're somebody who's quick to get really frustrated by that. You're quick to be, you know, maybe you snap back with a response, and then later on you're like, I feel bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. You know, so it actually is a huge, huge part of this. And if you can be more patient, I truly believe you can be more thankful. And what I mean by that is if you can be more patient in the sense of like, okay, so let's say you have a grandparent that often says things that you're like, that's not appropriate. You know, maybe you're someone who's still single and you have family members that are like, where's your boyfriend? Why don't you have a husband yet? What's taken so long? That kind of a deal. Maybe that really frustrates you. But in this situation, maybe you can just be like, I'm going to be more patient. I already know that I'm going to get those comments. I already know I'm going to get those sorts of things said to me. So I'm going to think ahead and be very intentional about the fact that I'm not going to snap back. I'm not going to let that get under my skin. I'm going to be patient with that. And instead of responding back with maybe some like short, frustrated comment, maybe you come back and you're like, I don't know yet. You know, maybe you laugh it off, or maybe you take this moment to finally be like, hey, I really don't appreciate it when you say that. You know, that actually hurts my feelings. Or maybe you use that as your opportunity to just change the subject altogether and you talk about something different. And in that moment, you might be like, well, how does that make me thankful? And for me, how I view it is I'm just thankful that I have family members that care enough to ask. Now, is their way of caring maybe a little bit different than I would prefer? Sure. But I can't control the way other people act. I can only control the way that I act. And I, just like we've talked about in multiple videos in this series up to this point, my favorite self is someone who's patient. My favorite self is someone who is not, you know, responding really quickly or being frustrated or immediately getting in a bad mood over something that maybe that other person never meant to be negative. Maybe they were saying it in a way because they care about you, but they don't know how to go about saying that, right? And I feel like grandparents are just way more blunt than a lot of people. So if that example really resonates with you, then, you know, consider that. But I'm thankful to have this time with my grandparents, right? So in that moment, maybe you can just be thankful that your grandparents are still here, that you still have this time that you can be spending with them, that you can be, you know, enjoying Thanksgiving, enjoying life with them, right? So when it comes to being thankful, I really, really encourage you to also practice patience. Be intentional about patience in your life. If that's in the morning when you're trying to get your kids out the door and they're taking forever, you know, practice that patience. Maybe your day needs to start a little bit earlier so that you can help them with theirs instead of everybody trying to do their thing at the same time. Or maybe you wake them up a little bit earlier so that you are more patient because they have more time. Or maybe it's a spouse who, you know, we've talked about in other videos, who maybe doesn't change the toilet paper roll or doesn't put the seat down, or, you know, whatever it might be. You know, one thing for me, I jokingly with my husband, I'm like, you've loaded the dishwasher wrong. And some people are like, how do you load the dishwasher wrong? And I'm telling you, there are definitely right and wrong ways. And there are definitely ways, especially when my husband puts the bowl in face up. I'm like, how's that bowl ever gonna get clean? Like, there is a right and wrong way. So, but I practice patience in that. And now it used to bother me a ton. And now I'm just like, I'm just gonna flip the bowl over and move on. Like, I usually rearrange it anyway to just try to fit as much as possible in the dishwasher. So whatever that might be, pinpoint whatever the frustrations are in your day-to-day life, with Thanksgiving coming up, whatever it might be, and go into those situations being super mindful about the fact that you are going to be really, really patient, and literally watch how different the situation is. Whether that's like you count to 3, take a deep breath, like whatever, or you change the subject, or you just express that you maybe don't like, you know, how that makes you feel, whatever it is. Focus on that patience and watch it actually change your life, and then watch yourself feel more thankful for those people versus feeling frustrated and annoyed with those people. So that's what I've got for you today. We are almost at Thanksgiving, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. See ya.